The other day I switched my Nextcloud install from the snap to manual install, and I wanted to have more control over everything and be able to configure more. But the main thing is I wanted to be able to fully edit the php.ini file. We use the camera uploads feature on our phone, and it was timing out on photos and videos. It would say disconnected from the server. There was an error, and I figured that had to do with the php.ini. And in the snap, I think the settings are too low. And there are a few commands to adjust those, but it's limited. I tried those and I adjusted what I could. And so I needed to make those changes. And now that I've been able to edit the php.ini, I'm able to, we don't have that error anymore on the uploads. And there it is. This is a good guide here. Here's an example of the things that I changed. These are good quantities, but I might have made them higher on mine, but you can play around with it. Change that configuration, and then make sure after you do that that you reload Apache for it to take effect. Now I want the search bar to go away. So that's what I was able to edit, and it made a big difference. So we're not getting that error on every single photo that we try to upload. And of course, as I mentioned, I want to have more control. So you can absolutely run the Nextcloud snap and manual install at the same time. No issue with that. The snap is in its own container, and all of those processes are in the snap, and then the manual install is separate from that. The only thing you need to do is you need to make sure that they're on different ports. So you could run these two commands and put the Nextcloud snap on whatever ports you choose, and then make sure you update your port forwarding so that works. And then if you do standard ports for your manual install, that would be different. Next, you want to put your snap install in maintenance mode. I want to back up a little bit and say that this is not a full tutorial. There are a ton of those. And I liked this one. This was very thorough, learnlinux.tv. And then, of course, you want to look at the official docs, the official documentation on an install. So that's not my purpose in making this video. I wanted to talk specifically about moving from a snap to a manual install. And so I searched for that on YouTube. I didn't see any results. So I thought, well, I will talk about what I just did. And so first, you want to put your snap install into maintenance mode. So people aren't making changes to the database. They're not uploading files and that sort of thing. So you put that in maintenance mode. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to back up your database. So it's in maintenance mode, so no one's made changes to your database. You back up that database. And here's just an example. I'm putting the full path here because on my server, I'm using Debian 11. And so it doesn't add the snap packages automatically to the path. And so if you're a regular user, you need to prefix it with sudo, of course. And if you're running this as regular user. And so you'd run this command, and then you do your backup. And put whatever path you want. And of course, we need this extension here, the SQL extension. And then back up your data directory. Always have a backup. Always have a backup. You never want to be at the keyboard about to do a command and you're like, if I don't get this right, it's all going to go down. Always have a backup. That makes things much less stressful. So I'm not going to talk about how to do this because it's documented everywhere in so many places for MariaDB on, you make the empty database, and it's on this tutorial here as well. This is like the whole full thing on setup Apache and all of that. And I'm using Apache on mine. The database stuff, it's somewhere in here. Anyways, there we go. Talks about that there. There we go. That made that go away. And so create your empty database, create the Nextcloud database. user, create that user, grant privileges for that user for the new database, and then you will import your database export. You exported the database from the snap up here, right here, and then you need to import that database. And then you need to copy your snap package config.php. So this is the location of the snap package config.php, var snap, and then it's going to be some number here, and then config.php. Config directory, and then the file. And so then copy that over to the to your, it's probably var your var www directory, your Nextcloud directory, your config directory, and the thing you unpacked that you downloaded from the website. So the secret and the password salt definitely needs to stay the same. Make sure you update the database user, database password with the correct information, and anything else. I've got a simple config here. Look at my passwords here. ASDF, ASDL, yeah. So obviously I just typed in gibberish here. Password salt, secret, keep those the same. Trusted domains, update that. Your data directory, that's where my data directory is. Update your version. You should make note of what version you downloaded. Update that as needed. What is the local IP address of your server? And then your database name. You can change all these things. Database user and database password. And then you've got the instance ID. So update that as needed. I'll just close that out. And let's see. And then start MariaDB. I'm having a hard time saying that in Apache. And so that's the systemctl command. Systemctl start and then mariadb.service. And so start those, and you might need to enable those so that it'll start on boot. And then install the snap certbot. I did that for my SSL certificate. I think the other method is going away or something. So I think the official method is the snap certbot. So snap, bin, certbot, and all these require super user privileges. So I'm using Apache. So you need to, if you're using something different and like Nginx, then research that. Okay. I got a couple of things here. So if your data directory is at an alternative location, make sure you change the owner. Actually, you'll need to do that regardless, because on the snap, the owner of the data directory is root. So on the manual install, it needs to be www-data. Make sure that any parent directories have the proper permissions. I actually ran into this because one of the parent directories on mine, I think mount or something had, maybe it was the Nextcloud directory. It had 770 permissions, and that's not acceptable because and that was the root user and it was 770, and so this is a totally different user and group, so 0 was not going to work, so it needed to be 755. That last 5 allows www-data to be able to access it. So if that user and group cannot access it, then it will not work. Make sure you install all PHP dependencies. And I actually ran into an issue where the optional ones, I had not installed an optional one, and it was causing me an issue. And so if you have an issue, if you're doing your check after install and you're having an issue, something's not working, you might want to come here and see, well, am I trying to use a service or a functionality that requires one of the optional modules? Finally, after you're done, go in the Nextcloud interface, web interface, settings, overview, security, and setup warnings. That'll be right there at the top. And it'll tell you, you need to fix this, 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 if there are things to fix. It could be that something went wrong and you need to get your Nextcloud instance up and running. So you'll want to stop Apache and MariaDB, possibly disable it, systemctl command with systemd, and then change the ownership of the data directory back to root. And so you would just put root here. Then turn off maintenance mode, and that's all you would need to do. You turn off maintenance mode, and then change the ownership. But if everything goes well, then you can disable the Nextcloud snap. Disable Nextcloud. I think snap, at least on Debian, is in the path, so I think you can just do snap. That should be fine. Those are some of my tips and the steps you can take to switch from the snap install to manual install. And just be sure to do your homework. Study up on what you're doing ahead of time and do your homework. Research. Because if you kind of halfway research, it can cause you to lose a whole lot of time. For sure. If I'm trying to get to a location, I'm careful not to miss a turn, but I'm just like, oh yeah, I kind of got it down. Then you end up driving around everywhere because you can't find your location. So, I believe that's everything. This was a good little tutorial. There are a lot of tutorials, and just follow them and be careful and good luck with it.